Hi, this is John Hawkins Jr. with Gateway Counseling Center, and this is video number 3 on addiction. In this video, I really want to talk to just the core of what drives an addiction. There's all kinds of theories about whether it comes from mental illness or it's a spiritual disease or it's chemical imbalance, whatever it may be. Wherever you're looking at it, whatever lens from, and there's a lot of different truths, a lot of validity to a lot of the perspectives. But at its core, it really comes down to the brain and the nervous system. No matter what the stimulus is that's triggering it, it's what happens in my body and my brain. That emotions, adrenaline, all these things, we have our chemical, electrical energy in the body and the brain. So they get triggered by different things, no matter where that trigger is coming from. It dysregulates this in the nervous system until all of a sudden I have to either commit some kind of compulsive act or I dissociate. It's really about all this getting dysregulated. And so whether it's a conditioned trigger, like I used to get high in this room every day, and then I come in here and all of a sudden there's all this stimulation on my nervous system that commits me to want to act and get this feeling that my primitive brain's been hijacked to prioritize this as my biggest survival need. Or whether it's interpersonal conflict or disappointment about something, no matter what it is, it's dysregulating here somewhere. The problem that most addicts struggle with is they're so disconnected from their body. So by the time they commit the act, it's like they didn't even really know half the time what they felt. And so the basis to start is I've got to practice a mindfulness where I'm aware of what I'm feeling in my body. That what happens is like, okay, this stimulus will trigger, and then I keep thinking about what it is that triggered it. So it'll get more and more and more and more dysregulated until the point where I got to do something. And because it's the primitive brain, like I've talked about in previous videos, it's just compelled to take some kind of action. So the beginning of it is really starting with what is going on here? Where am I feeling it in my body? If I feel sadness, where do I feel that sadness in my body? Then I've got to be able to tolerate that feeling to start to explore it. So then I can start at that point to look at where it's coming from, what it's telling me, doing what nature designed it to do. So, so many of these different approaches and theories on what drives addiction, people really get married to their thing. And so they miss out on a lot of truths, on a lot of the other, models, what they have to offer, because there's some truth in probably all of them. But to simplify it, I'm not going to get anywhere until I can learn how to regulate what I'm feeling here in my body, my brain, and my nervous system. And on other videos, I'm going to get much more into the complexity, because it does get really complex about what is actually happening in the brain and the nervous system, and how some of the models of treatment that we now know how to do can really shift that and change that permanently, so the person's not struggling so much to fight out against all this dysregulation. So I would appreciate, again, any thoughts, comments, feedbacks, disagreements. I respectfully respond to those. But somebody taught me a long time ago, one of my mentors, when things would get really complex as they can in therapy or working with any issues like addiction, is find the quickest way to simplify it. And for me, the most simple thing you can understand about addiction is it's a brain nervous system thing. No matter how it started, no matter how it developed, no matter where it comes from, that's the end point, is it gets all dysregulated here until I engage in some kind of compulsive behavior. Like I've talked about before in other videos, you have to look way past substances. Addiction is not a substance use disorder, it's a compulsive behavior disorder, because people will get away from their primary substance, but they still can't regulate and deal with all the stuff that's happening here, and then they have to engage in something else. So if I'm using opiates and I quit that, then I'm using steroids, or I'm chain smoking, or I'm watching pornography, or I'm binge eating, compulsive gambling. I mean, down here in South Florida, we have a huge recovery community, and you can find a lot of them at the Hard Rock Casino every weekend. So it's good that they're not banging dope, but blowing all my paycheck to get that rush at the casino is not sobriety. So again, it still comes back to here. Here's where we have to start. Before we identify what it is that's triggering this, first we have to get a handle on this, so then we can explore this. So appreciate you watching the video and taking the time to do that, and I look forward to making the next video and then getting more into some of the complexity of what's going on under the hood there, so to speak. All right.